So we have a show titled sponsored Living for We, and Living for We season 2 focuses on gun violence and the impact that gun violence can have on both parties that's involved. But me and you like to take it a step further, because when gun violence happens, it impacts many people, family, friends, associates, loved ones, etc. And we heard the unfortunate news of the Kyren Lacy passed away from an apparent suicide. He was found dead Saturday night in Houston, and according to Harris County authorities, police responded to a call from a female family member who said Lacy had discharged a firearm into the ground during a verbal argument. When they arrived on the scene, they learned that Lacy had fled in the vehicle. Police chase took place, and apparently somewhere in that chase, he ended his life, and he was found deceased in his car. Of course, late December, driving recklessly was the culprit in a hit and run accident that left a 78-year-old man deceased. And it seems like from that moment in December, things went downhill from him. And we just felt it necessary to highlight this, man, because it's tough, right? Everybody lost in this situation. This is a young man who, it seemed like, man, life just got too much for him too soon. It seemed like at one point everything was right there for the taking. He had just graduated from LSU at the top of December. He had just completed his last season at LSU, balled out, by the way, and we all know the pedigree of wide receivers that come through that university.
Mhm.
And on a very odd December day, everything took a turn for the left, and now here we are. We are. So, what was your thoughts when you got the news?
Um, this is tough, man. Um, the older I get, it's interesting. Like when I was we were in high school, college, that age range. I feel like I wasn't very emotional,
Hmm.
and I just don't know if that was just the environment we grew up in, and we had to be tough. I don't know if that was just the people around us, or um, just what it is. As you know, as men, we don't try to show emotion. We try to be tough. We got to put this front on. So I didn't have a lot of emotion growing up. Now, as a 37-year-old man, hearing this news, I cried. I cried because at 24 years old, you have so much life to live, Earl. And he felt like he was going through so much that he had to take his own life. That's scary for me. And I think this is a call out, not only for us to, as men, especially black men, but men in general, to get with a therapist, get some mental help, find somebody you can talk to and communicate with. I think it's extremely important that as mentors, as uncles, as fathers, as brothers, as friends, as teammates, as peers, as coaches, as teachers, we are pouring into the young men we're around. You never know what somebody's going through. You never know what they're battling with. You don't know the pressure he felt. He was about to be a second, third round pick in the NFL draft. Life changing scenario coming up literally 12 days away when he shot himself. 11 days away when he shot himself. But he felt like his world was so messed up and impacted in such a way that he had to take his life. That's scary for me. And again, it's a call out. It woke me up. What type of man am I? What type of man am I? What type of mentor, what type of father, uncle, brother am I to the men around me, to the young people around me? It's sad. It's a horrendous thing, as you mentioned in the in the read. Um, it affects not only the family, but I mean so many other people. I feel hurt about this. You're hurt about this, Earl. So I
Yeah.
can imagine what his immediate family, his teammates, people that know him, intimately what they feel. Like this impacted so many. It was like a ripple effect. I was just sitting there like, this is unbelievable. Now I don't know the kid. I just
Mhm.
know of the kid. So it's a call out, man. Like we really got to step up as men. That's how I take it. It's sad. Uh, 24 years old, whole life in front of him. Whether he would have gotten, say he would have gotten in trouble with the law, it's still life in front of you. There's still
Yeah,
time to get make things right.
yeah,
I just don't want anybody to feel like it's I have to take their own life.
yeah.
I have to.
To me, I think my message would be, we all make bad choices in life sometimes. We all do things that we're not proud of, and we all do things that sometimes come with consequences, and those consequences can be greater than others depending on the circumstances. And you got to be able to persevere through those bad moments. You got to understand that storms don't last forever.
Mm,
That when those clouds finally part, that the sun is shining and God is still good. And even in your worst situation, God is still good. And when you feel like you in the pits of the worst situations ever, like God can make a way for you to climb yourself out of it. And I would just tell people to, man, to have more faith, have more hope. Seek out therapy. If you are somebody that's a spiritual believer, gain a closer relationship with God, because we all gonna go through something, and we're all gonna go through things that are going to get us to the brinks of not sure if we wanting to be here or not. Me and you have talked privately, and you have talked on this platform about some of the mental struggles that you had throughout your NFL career, how your career ended, and things like that. I can think about, some of my early life decisions and how it was shaping my life up, and how depressed I was because it didn't seem like I was going anywhere. Or I can remember, a July morning on 271, a couple months after my father passed away, just not really caring. And
mm,
so I know what it's like. And to your point, we got to be better men, better leaders, better fathers, better uncles, better friends, better associates. That's why we always say the things that we say. Spreading love, like, it's priceless, and people don't realize a compliment to a stranger
mm,
might do something to save their life or change the trajectory of their day. And if we can just put more energy into being kind people, it can go a long way. Also, the man that lost his life in the accident that Lacy caused, I think about his family as well, because that's a family that wanted justice for their loved one, and they won't get that, unfortunately. And so they have to deal with that trauma, and they have to deal with that along with the loss of their loved one. And so this is a situation that's going to impact so many different people in so many different ways. And, nothing happens in vain. And what I hope for is that, man, we can come out on the other side of this more loving, better people, stronger, and with more resources to help people that might be dealing with mental illnesses, depression. Depression is a real thing. And just speaking from, what I really recently went through, to walk in my house and find my mama dead with her eyes
mm,
open.
mm,
Like, to be able, like, it's only by the grace of God that I'm still standing, that I'm functioning, that I ain't crashed out, that I'm not drowning. And that's because I lean on people like you, who's my friend and my brother. It's because I lean on that word, and it's because I got my butt in therapy. And I understand that, you know, life is hard for me. But if I don't do the things necessary to help myself, it can have a huge impact on those who love me.